Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to BioShock and what could quite possibly be the last episode? Because it's telling us to take the elevator up and confront Fontaine, and they just gave us a crap ton of upgrades and weapons and ammunition.
Yeah. Oh, I should save.
So
I should save.
Dude, save right now, dude. This really, and it's like, the place is freaking called the Proving Ground. It feels final boss-ish in nature. So I don't know. I feel like we weren't done with the game. Like I feel like there might be more. There were still like two locations left in the bathysphere, but yeah. I guess hey, we're confronting Fontaine. It is what it is.
Here we go. Ready?
Alright, here we
go. Oh.
Fontaine, dude!
That is it.
He's dude.
Oh, wait. Is that like the level? No, hold on. Let's see.
Dude, we are fighting Fontaine.
I remember when me and the crowd put you in that sub. You were no more than two. You were my ace in the hole.
There are no vital chambers nearby, and if you die, you'll just continue from
I ever had to a son.
Good thing we saved her before.
That's why this hurts. Betrayal, kid. Life ain't strictly business.
Oh shit! This is it.
Oh,
this is it.
Us. Fontaine. Fontaine, are you ready to take this hill real quick?
I don't know what to do. All right, it's one of them.
Oh, what? What the hell is that? Wait, that's Fontaine? The fuck is this freaking? Oh my god! This freaking Mr. Dr. Manhattan ass guy. Yo, why couldn't we get the
oh shit.
Why couldn't we get the plasmids this dude was on? Look at that! This dude freaking turned into like a Street Fighter character. Jesus Christ! He's like 9 feet tall. Wait, are we still wearing the Big Daddy suit? We don't have like the helmet thing on anymore.
Oh yeah, they probably got rid of that.
Yeah. Maybe they just got rid of the effect. Dude, we're kicking this dude's ass right now. Oh. Yo, come on, come get this work real quick. Come get this work. Oh my god! Oh! He just uppercutted you in the face. Right, one more shot. One more good shot. Boom! Alright, now we just need to drain him, yeah. What? That's very strange.
So yeah, it's like 4 levels.
So, that's very nice of him. It's very considerate. Every time you take down his
he's a different power each time.
Oh, so he's probably weak to different things. Yeah, good thing we have the shortened alarms, actually. Oh, Little Sister's come to help us. That's very considerate of him that every time we drain him of one of his life bars, he warps back into his chains, or into his restraints. Oh, heal. Heal. There we go. Also, your hypo, if you Ooh. Good shot. Nice, dude. Dude, we're still using regular rounds. Oh, ooh, maybe heal.
A little bit.
Yeah, you wanna play with Flya? Okay, good. You got it. Nice, dude. Efficient, very efficient. Look at this. We're kicking this dude's ass.
Oh man.
Look, he got all charred. He got all burnt in the skin.
Ooh, what's
whoa! Oh, he's electricity now.
Oh shit!
Heal!
Oh, there's people. Oh,
yeah,
dude. Should kill him too.
I mean, you've got like other rounds too. You've got like anti-personnel rounds you can use. I'll keep an eye on your health. So.
Thanks.
Yeah. I don't know how much damage he does on a regular attack though. You should probably. I don't know, like if you want a chance.
Any damage?
Yeah. Heal. Yeah, that's the biggest problem. I don't know how much of one of his regular attacks does. You know, just throwing his henchmen at him. That's how you gotta do it. Oh, bees! Get him, bees!
Oh shit.
That would be really silly. Oh, maybe heal. Oh, you've only got. Oh,
I got him in the ass.
Yeah. Oh, he's actually swatting the bees away. I was gonna say, like, it would be hilarious if, like, the freaking bees, like, made him do, like, this swatting dance. Alright, maybe heal. Ooh, maybe heal. Okay, there you go. Good.
Oh shit.
Ooh, what is he doing up there? Oh, did he just happen to... Look at him swat away the bees! It's hilarious that, like, a giant ogre monster like that is like, oh, bees, get him away, oh! Yo, dude, is this it?
Close to it.
Fucking drain the life out of him!
Shit.
Drain the shit out of him!
Oh shit, that was it.
Look at him.
I sent you topside. I called you back.
Oh, he looks like, he really does look like Atlas, like,
Even that life you thought you had,
Yeah.
that was something I dreamed up.
Does he have a giant dick? Does he have a big dick?
no, I know.
He just has an armor-plated wiener.
First concern, well, did he have a dick?
Yeah, just... Well, I was thinking because he looked like Dr. Manhattan, so I was wondering if... Oh my god, yo, we got accomplices! Stab him to death.
Go, little girls.
Stab the shit out of him. Yes!
Oh,
Yes!
yeah.
Murder! Stick him! Stick him! You got caught, son!
You got-
Fuck! You come around here! I'll be a little girl! Shit! Yeah, bro!
Oh,
Yeah.
that was so cool.
Yo, they just freaking... What was that book?
Oh.
Shit. They just Lord of the Flies your ass. That's what they did.
City.
Oh, she looks cuter there than she does in the game. Come on, Hubrub, remember me, Hubrub?
And you refused it.
Aww.
Key to
And
city,
what did you do instead? What I've come to expect of you.
Aww.
You saved them.
Yeah, we introduced
You
them to
gave them the
sunlight.
one thing that was
They
stolen
could
from
use
them.
a nice little tan.
A chance.
Oh, we gave him a
A chance
choice.
to learn.
Oh.
To find love.
Aww.
To live. And in the end, what was your reward? You never said. But I think I know.
tattoo.
Mmm.
A family.
Oh, cause he never...
Aww.
Oh. So, yeah. That's,
Holy crap!
That's BioShock.
Wow.
Holy crap.
Why was there no?
I thought
there's
there
no
was
like
gonna be
credits or
another
anything.
scene. No, I won't.
Oh, yeah. Open
there's
up the credits. Open up the credits because I want to. How long is this episode? This episode's going on for 8 minutes. I kind of wanted to just like talk a little bit more about it while we got the.
So
the credits come
that's BioShock.
Damn, dude. That was cool.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the ending kind of like, it was just an epic battle, but everything before it though.
Yeah.
It's pretty mind fucking.
That was that was really cool. I think my favorite part was sort of the transition of Andrew Ryan becoming going from like this the so-called the bad guy to being like this tragic figure and seeing that sort of duality in like the Great Chain, the idea of
I didn't pay attention to much of that, like the Great Chain and all that, but like actually kind of playing it a second time and actually kind of discovering that with you and actually kind of talking about it and figuring that out. Oh, it's just so mind-blowing to actually like kind of like see where that fits into the story. Yeah. Like I just thought it was about like bad guy's not bad guy.
Yeah.
And there's a real bad guy, or Atlas.
It's
is a bad
fucking
guy,
cool because
but
I think
it's not bad.
because that's one of the key questions of philosophy. Not to get all philosophy major on you. I'm not a philosophy major. By
This
the way.
game
But like
is for it. This
just
game
like,
is definitely.
That's one of the big questions, right? Of whether are humans naturally born quote unquote good or born quote unquote evil. Is there even such a universal concept of what is good and what is evil? Because obviously people have their own reasons for doing things, and the people that historically that we can look back on and say that was like an objectively bad guy, but at the time in their historical context and with the experiences they had a rationale and they thought that they were doing something that they believed in and they thought was right. So like it was interesting to see them explore this concept of human ambition. If we let them, Andrew Ryan believed that if people were left to their own devices and really allowed to succeed and not have interference from the government or religion or the morality instilled by cultures.
Yeah, because everyone's entitled to their own beliefs and taking it within, and it's just so cool that they brought the way they took the way that Andrew Ryan took his He made the city, and then after Atlas, just like becoming one of those vices. It's just like him. I don't know. It's just so interesting.
Yeah,
it really opened up my mind to like just thinking outside the parameters of our culture. Our type of society, or at least like what you grow up believing. This game is like that's why I love this game so much, because it's just like it broadens your idea of that not everyone is like face first. You kind of you can look into their own backstory and then sympathize with them.
And I think and you can even look too with what was happening with Fontaine, right? So Fontaine goes from being Atlas, but when you think about it, what actually changed about Fontaine? Atlas, when he was Atlas, he wanted to escape the city and save his family and kill Andrew Ryan.
He was an entrepreneur.
Fontaine wanted to escape the city and kill Andrew Ryan. The only thing that really changed about him was not having a family and being Frank Fontaine. But like, in terms of what he actually wanted, he still wanted to get out of the city.
Yeah.
And sort of at the end there, when he said that, like, I put you on the sub when you were 2 years old, and he said you were kind of like a son to me, was really interesting, because you get this hint of like this depth about Fontaine that, in the end, he never spliced until that moment. And you have to even think that maybe the only reason that he spliced was because you were there threatening to freaking kill him.
Yeah, that's probably the only case.
So like, while the world went to shit around him, like, he took advantage of the opportunities that he had, and he made himself successful in Rapture, but he never spliced himself. That he was like a man of ambition and a man of conviction, and he did things his way. And even though he basically was not single-handedly, but like he basically started the downfall of Rapture.
Yeah, he turned that wheel.
But like at the end of the day, like he was the guy that like, I don't know, he wanted to get out of Rapture, and he wanted to like.
And you can see that reasoning behind him. Like, even though he kind of lied to you, but you can see like it's like his words at the beginning was like half truths.
Yeah, and it's like, it's just like,
he
it's tragic too.
Yeah,
and when he says at the end, he's like, there's nothing to save here in Rapture.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like, I agree with him, except for the little sisters. That was the only thing.
But that comes
which I
later,
guess is the idea of family.
Like when you...
To him, he didn't want to save the little sisters.
No.
And like, to him, there was nothing redeemable about Rapture at all. He just wanted to leave.
Like how we went to like a segment with KuyaLumpia. Discussion on games.
Well, yeah, I want to do this, I think, whenever I beat any game. I really kind of want to do this.
Cool.
Like, yeah.
I like this.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I forget, this game is awesome, and I think it's really cool to see them extend on a lot of those same sort of themes, where they make these characters that, you could argue that Fontaine became, like, the big bad guy at the end, but when you really look into it, like, with his motivations and, the person that he is, it's kind of, it's very tragic.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like...
reason with him. You can empathize with his...
Yeah, I mean, he was a dick. Don't get me wrong. He was a dick. He was a dick. Like, he was a bad guy.
He was a dick.
Yeah, he was a fucking dick. but he was in the end, it's just interesting that when you really look at the character, like, you can have this feeling that, oh, he's a bad guy. But then when you think about it, you're like, huh, like. Yeah. In the same way that when we hated Andrew Ryan in the beginning of the game, we really didn't have cause to, other than the fact that the game told us that we were supposed to hate him.
Everyone hates him before that.
Yeah, exactly. The same thing with Fontaine is that, like, you don't want to take that same, thought of everyone's telling me this guy's a bad guy, so I should just believe them. You should also apply that to Fontaine. And when you look at him as, the kind of person that he was, never spliced, he's a businessman that really, he was the one who took the most advantage of the freedom that Rapture gave. And, he was like the most of the mindset of, following the great chain of, like, owning up to your ambitions, being the most ambitious person, and holding yourself back.
In the story.
It's interesting. It's cool.
I like how they did, like you said before, like, they made you hate Fontaine first. Or not Fontaine, Andrew Ryan. And then after that you hate Fontaine. But like that sort of symmetry, like, wait, oh, he's actually okay. Or he's like, he's not a bad person. I mean, like reading through the diary logs. But then after that, you learn more about Fontaine and Atlas, and then he's like becomes this two-faced person.
Yeah,
and you realize his true face.
And Fontaine can still be a bad person, but just being able to like understand him more, and appreciate him more as like a tragic sort of figure, and that's the cool thing. That's what empathy, man.
Boom, symmetry to Infinite. What's it called? What's his name? Booker and himself, his other self, his.
That's right.
They're sort of like symmetrical.
Comstock.
Yeah, Comstock. Like you can hate Comstock for a reason, but then you realize he's like bad in this way. And then even your own character, Booker, DeWitt, he's like also like he's good and he's doing this deed, he's trying to pay his debt, but then all of a sudden, bam, he actually like gave his daughter away for money.
Right.
Spoiler. For Infinite.
But anyways, I put spoiler alert warning for Infinite. But
like it's sick.
Yeah, and I think and it's funny that the whole theme of the game is really encapsulated in that idea of the man chooses and the slave obeys.
Yeah.
And that's something that
characters to everything.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even use the word two-faced. I would just say just depth.
Yes.
There's just depth to everything, and that's how the world operates, and that's how people operate, and it's just like there's always a story behind the reasons people do things and why people think the way they do, and sometimes we hear things on the news or whatever, and you're like, how the heck could someone think that way, or act that way,
does that person
or live that way?
But then you don't know their life.
Yeah, and it's just like...
So you have to kind of like research, dive into their own lives.
Yeah, and just understand that,
how deep is their...
Yeah.
You know.
And the great chain guides us all, and
great chain. I
man chooses and a slave obeys, and that's the takeaway. I think. And, like, I don't know. These are just thoughts to think on. Obviously, like, I'm not like taking this all as at face value, but this is just.
But there's another thing too that I noticed that the maker did, Levine. He also like the sense of family. Sense of family is always there. The symmetry of between Infinite and BioShock, but not just that. But looking at this, like just the daughter, the son or daughter character, and then the father, and it's like even in the villain or the bad guys that you fight, like the big daddies and little sisters, there's that symmetry there. I mean, just the names just kind of speaks for itself, but the fact that they are compassionate, non-playable characters that are there.
Yeah.
They represent like you and Andrew Ryan.
Right.
They represent like Fontaine, who doesn't have a family.
Yeah.
There's that black sheep, or that triangle there.
It's such
But in a way, Fontaine is like a father to you, as the main.
Right.
character.
And that's a very good point. I think
which is cool. It just goes all around.
Yeah. What I mentioned earlier, the idea of what is the difference between Atlas, the lie that he created, and Fontaine, who he actually is. Really the only difference in terms of their discrete motivations is the fact that Atlas had a family that he was trying to protect. And when you take that away, Fontaine becomes this like distant overlord type of despotic figure who doesn't care about other people. But then right at the end he says that we were almost like a son to him, and you were actually saying, which I think is a good point, the fact that like throughout the game he's pretty much a father figure to you. Because out of all of the characters in this game, he has the most interaction with you. And he has the most fatherly kind of interaction with you because he's telling you what to do.
But you were taken away early on too. Remember that? You were taken away from Andrew Ryan. Yeah, you were taken away from Andrew Ryan like from birth. So
right.
Genetically.
Yeah. But so like, in terms of like being raised,
like
Fontaine was probably the one who mostly raised you.
Suchan and Tenenbaum. Well, no, Tenenbaum wasn't involved. But
so
it's that relation, that dysfunctional family relation.
It's very cool. I think in a way it's like cool. Through the first half of the game, you're. I would liken it almost to something like an adolescence, right, where you're rebelling against the person you know to be your father, Andrew Ryan. Because when that's revealed to you, when that's revealed to you, you're like, Andrew Ryan's my dad, no, and you hate him. But when you actually interact with him, he makes you kill him. but he wants the best for you.
Yeah.
Which is a very, I think, fatherly kind of thing.
And he
to do.
gave you that club, and he said.
Right. He makes you kill.
He makes you choose. He tries to make you choose.
He gives you the opportunity, which is to me it seems like a very fatherly thing. Obviously, in the real world, your dad doesn't give you a club and tell you to kill him. But he does. I feel like it's a very fatherly thing to want to challenge your child.
Yeah.
And really say, it's like the same thing where they say, like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Like, I feel like if somehow, after we clubbed Andrew Ryan to death, if he could miraculously, like, come back to life with a club sticking out of his forehead, he'd, like, shake his head and go, like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Like, I told you that a man chooses and a slave obeys, and you just obeyed me. I'm disappointed. Like,
and he goes back to dying.
It's like this. It's like I don't want you to do this because I told you to. I want you to do it because like I want you to be mature enough to want to do. That's like what Andrew Ryan did for us.
That's what he did.
But at the time, you don't appreciate that really. I mean, not really.
Yeah.
It's only in retrospect.
So you're saying that like this like replicates like what like the growing relationship between like a father figure.
I
and,
think
like,
so.
I
think so.
Daughter?
I think so.
That's funny.
There's a lot of feelings
to...
in this game. I think it's shown a lot. This idea of fathering something or being a parent to something, right? Between the big daddies and the little sisters, between the feeling of Andrew Ryan building the city and the city itself is like his child, but then Fontaine was the person that essentially took it over.
That's true.
And turned it into something that it wasn't. There's a lot of this understanding of like when you create something as a parent, like you've created life, there's this sense of like ownership, like I created this. But like when you create something, it's not a pet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's something that you create and it grows up and it has different experiences than you and it becomes an entirely different person. I think to a degree even Sandra Cohen as an artist, there's this idea of when you create an artistic work, it's not your pet. Even though you put your life into it and your own experiences, other people experience that art and interpret it in different ways. Yeah. And that's another thing that you have to learn to deal with, that this creation of mine is no longer mine to own and to dictate. Like it belongs to other people now.
That's true. Yeah.
It does not belong to God. It belongs to man. Like it really is that, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's cool. And then the idea of Fontaine, and.
But I wonder what Cohen is.
I know,
like,
it's cool.
If you were to relate it to Infinite. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm just diving too much into this, but it's like, because like I'm just trying to put the games like side by side and like say that okay, this character is this, but there is a lot of symmetry between the games, and it's so obvious to see now, I guess, for you, right? Because now that you had like Infinite, which is like the first game, it was very fresh in your mind. Somewhat fresh because like it wasn't so long. It was kind of long ago since you played, but like taking it back and comparing the two, it must be pretty
it's awesome,
revealing, and a lot of I don't know, like good feelings.
Yeah, totally. I like the best part really is seeing where the parallels are, and definitely seeing that trend of the idea of like ownership, and there's a lot of philosophies that they make about destiny and creation, and I think you were saying earlier about family, and I think that's a really like important like baseline throughout all of BioShock. This idea of like
I love that about this game.
Yeah,
like, even though it's like when you say family, you think that topic, you wouldn't think like this game is about that. When you actually play it though, and you see it, you see it through. Same thing with Infinite too. You don't assume it's just like it's about society. It's about like a thing about like society, like how culture is and how that's created.
I think
but
overall,
this is just like it goes into like a whole nother level. With
overall,
the story
if I had to try and isolate or distill like BioShock's entire philosophy into one like central question, it would be about the difference between the feeling of ownership and the feeling of like, I suppose it would be like opportunity.
Ownership.
Like maybe not ownership versus opportunity, but like ownership versus the desire to grow alongside something, like to still accept it as something that like that cares for you and you care about it, but not in a sense of propriety.
Yeah.
And that's something that you see everywhere. You see it in in economics, right? So like something like where they're talking about when he built the city. Does he own the city? Well, no, not anymore, because a person like Fontaine came in and essentially took it over in another way. So that's another sense of ownership, and he felt it in a different way. And it's when you see it with parents and children, like when you have a child and you're teaching it and you're trying to instill all of your morals into it, but you can't, because eventually they're going to have experiences that you haven't had, and they're going to grow to be a different person. And you could try to fight that and like force them to be the kind of person you want them to be, but at some point you have to accept that they are becoming something different. Yeah. But you have to learn to be okay with that. So I don't know. I think that's just me trying to find like what a central question is of the BioShock franchise.
You're comparing. You're doing what's it called? You're contrasting between ownership and like the organic growth of owning something, or organic.
I'm trying to find like what would the word be. Yeah, what would the word would be for ownership versus something else. But I think it's trying to take there's a sense of propriety, the sense of that you own something that's inherent to loving something.
Right.
And that is always a struggle to try and remove
between
that.
Something that you love versus something that you like must maintain.
Yeah, like basically like the feeling when you love something, the feeling that you own it, that it's yours to like.
Isn't that the struggle
protect? Like, exactly.
Right?
I think
choosing. Okay, so like for instance in careers, like choosing a career that you need to do so you get money versus something that you love. What would you rather choose, right? Is that sort of what?
I think,
career being like that one item in between. In between these
it's basically like it's when you love something and you think of it as property, as something that you own, there's a tendency to assume that it won't change. And that's like the difficulty is when you start to assume that it won't change, that like the thing itself becomes something entirely different.
Yeah.
So like if you see yourself as like okay, like I love I'll say like a person, like let's say you love like a girl or a guy, or you have a significant other and you love that person dearly, but you don't love them as like when you say like you love them as a person, maybe you loved them specifically as they were when they were happy and and they had less stress, but all of a sudden maybe that other person goes through like a big trauma in their life and then they become depressed, and then something it's like else. You no longer love that person. You loved like static ideal of who that person was.
I feel like that was a movie.
Fuck, it's there's a lot. I don't know. It's but basically just removing the sense of propriety from love, of like it's not ownership.
Yeah, it's not.
Because there is a love when you buy something new and you buy something shiny, like a new computer or a new car, and you love it, or a new TV, but you have a sense of like a duty to like protect it and like defend it, and it makes you happy, and you're like and that's good. That is a sense. That is a sense of love, but it's not the kind of love when you love a person, or as an artist, if you create something. There's this understanding that eventually it will no longer be yours to to instill your values in, or it's not yours to live vicariously through. Like your children. You can't.
Oh my God!
Put all of your values in your children.
That really goes over. So that really like what you were just saying about something that like you love, you own, but then it changes over time, and then it's something that's not the same.
Yeah.
That's very symmetrical to something about like a child and the father, the relationship between the father and the son or daughter, and the same thing between the relationship of like Andrew Ryan and the city.
Yeah.
Like something that's completely changed. His baby has changed.
Like what you
that's so like mind boom boom.
Like what you want to give them. What you want to give them as the parent, quote unquote, the parent is you want to give them not the actual values, but you want to give them the opportunities to share your values.
Yeah.
So like if you're trying to create, you know, a city that exactly reflects all of the things you want, like you're not going to have that because other people are going to be involved in that city and are going to change it in ways that you can't expect. But what you should want out of this, out of the thing or the thing that you've created, is the opportunity to be the things that you wanted it to be. And you should appreciate the ability for it to change over time. And you should want to make that commitment to it, to stick with it as it changes, and not just abandon it when it becomes something that you no longer want it to be.
What was in Levine's mind when he created this game?
I don't know, and maybe I'm just like adding, putting stuff into it that was not there in its intention of when it was created. But that's the point,
but
right?
That's what I love about
Kevin,
games like this.
Yeah,
like, it's
all stories, all things. When Ken Levine wrote this story, like he had an idea for what he wanted this story to tell people. But when I interpret this story, and if I add something that wasn't in Ken Levine's mind, guess what? Tough shit, Ken Levine. This is my experience now. You don't own this. But this is my thoughts.
It's so cool that games can do this, and it's just that I don't know if I've played a game that had that was this visceral, this engaging and deep.
They're very few and far between. Especially in the games.
And I remember when I played this, I had a high standard of finding a good story out of a game.
Yeah.
Which is why I didn't really enjoy games after playing this one. Other ones.
And I will say games have a long way to go in terms of being
relatable to reality, which is what I love.
Yeah. And there, and it's funny, you see this and you're like, oh, it's a fantasy shooter game,
scary
horror elements,
thriller.
And throughout the course of this series, if you stuck around, thank you, by the way, but if you stuck around, I've critiqued a lot of gameplay elements of it, but in terms of how the gameplay relates to the story, this is extremely cohesive. You're talking about the ways how the relationship between Atlas and you as a player in the first half of the game is a father-son relationship, more or less. And
cool.
How that sort of turns on its head when you reach your quote-unquote adolescence of the game. I don't know. People might listen to this and be like, "Oh my god, this pseudo-intellectual."
Cool. What you're saying is so.
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone sticks around and just listen to this is thank you. It's really cool that you do, and I hope you are interested by what we are talking about and the topics that we spoke of
just
about this game. Because after playing a game, I really do like talking about.
Absolutely.
But it's just so cool though what this game is for me, and I kind of happy that you can see it that way and share it that way with everyone and you.
Yeah.
So.
I'll close this finale with this. I really hope that if people hear my thoughts on the ending of this game and if you followed throughout the entire series of us playing through this game, that you sort of see that what it means to have a story that has depth and handles things in mature ways. Because I feel like people need to have higher standards for games when it comes to stories. Because a lot of games suck so far.
Bad at it.
But when a game is good, it's great. When a story this is told, this story right here, that experience of having Atlas give you objectives throughout the game and you have to do that and you have to listen to them in the first half of the game, that's childhood. That's listening to your father tell you to do things every day.
That's
for the beginning
most
of the game.
campaign games.
You can't have that experience in film. You can't have that experience in a book. You can find ways, but not quite in the same way that you can have it in an interactive experience
that's
like
how
a game.
Most games are now. You know that? It's ridiculous.
Games need to be better at telling stories, and a lot of people, when they look at games today and they're like, oh, this is the best game of all time and there's no way games can be better, and it's just fuck, dude, have higher standards. Games can be like this.
Very intellectual and and relate to reality, not just something that's like telling a story, not just a story, but something that has
it's not just to entertain like but I mean this game too can be entertaining. In this game you can enjoy this story.
Both.
Yeah. And you can enjoy this story too and think of like, oh, this is the bad guy and I just have to go kill him for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it'll be entertaining in that sense, but it's good because the game has depth if you want to search it out. And that's the cool
part. It's optional about so it's really cool. Really
BioShock, 10 out of 10. I don't know about 10 out of 10.
Boom,
but
boom.
I'm not all about like numbers of a rating
There'll
system,
be a
but
number.
this game
Boom, here.
I'll give it number. That's my rating. Number.
Boom.
But yeah. It's a great game, and obviously it's been out since 2007. So if you haven't picked it up, head on down to your local Circuit City, buy BioShock. They're not around anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, check it out if you haven't already, and you probably did.
Or download it.
Yeah, never settle for shitty games. If a game has a shitty story, tell them about it. Tweet that shit.
Yes.
God, I feel like I should end it on something a little bit more uplifting and resounding.
You kind of gave a rating.
How about this? A man chooses a slave always.
Yes.
A very sincere. Okay, let me end this fucking episode. All right. See. Bye.
Bye.